how they are growing over time. They were very small when we put them in, but it's an example for me of sustained, consistent growth. They require very little care, but we do care for them thanks to our gardening team that is headed up by Alex and Amy and Bobby and everyone else that comes out and supports that effort. So it's that attention, that sustained attention that is creating those flourishing with the succulents, as well as the nice planter box that we have right at the entrance to the center. Habit stacking is one of the first things that we're going to talk about today. And habit stacking is an example of how no quick fixes can work. Habit stacking is a special form of an implementation intention where we're setting a new habit in motion. And I believe that there's been some research study that indicates it takes 21 days, a minimum of 21 days, when you're working on a new intention to create that groove that this moves into. Again, an example of no quick fixes. It has to nurture and mature and do what it does over time. Rather than pairing a new habit, and this is the practice of habit stacking, rather than pairing a new habit with a particular time and location, you pair it with a current habit. And this method was created by an individual by the name of P.J. Fogg, F-O-G-G, and is part of his Tiny Habits program. James Clear, in the book Atomic Habits, expands on what Fogg describes what Fogg describes in his program. James Clear expands on it in his book Atomic Habits. And this is what he says: the key is to tie your desired behavior into something you already do each day. Once you've mastered this basic structure, you can begin to create larger stacks by connecting smaller habits together. This allows you to take advantage of the natural moment that comes from one behavior leading into the next. And so here are some examples that may help to make this clearer. So you have a current habit that you're practicing, and there's a new habit that you want to introduce. So this would be an example of stacking these habits. Meditation as example. After I pour my cup of coffee each morning, I will take a minute to meditate. So I'm pouring my coffee, that is a habit that I'm doing, and I'm going to stack that with a minute to meditate, combining these two practices together. Another example offered is exercise. After I take off my work shoes, I will immediately change into my workout clothes. So the habit is taking off work shoes. I've come in from whatever the work activity is, and now I'm going to move into moving my body and working out. So I change into. So it's another transition or another stacking that supports us. Now there's gratitude. After I sit down for dinner, I will say one thing that I am grateful for that happened today. So it's a practicing of gratitude. I'm grateful for the meal that is before me. I've given thanks and I have blessed the food. And now I am going to extend that gratitude and be thankful and be mindful of something that happened that brought delight and brought joy during the day. Another is safety. After I put on my running shoes or my walking shoes, I will text a friend or a family member to let them know where I am running or walking and how long it will take. It's another way of being accountable and also letting someone know where we are. And that can be vital in not only in these times, but it's been vital all along. And so using this particular model of stacking habits, we can identify additional examples where habits can can be stacked to expand our mind, body, and spirit connection. This is all about expansion. And it's a reminder that there are no quick fixes. It's another way of looking at it, is that I am going to engage in this practice, and I'm going to add this practice to it, recognizing that the long-term benefits will be beneficial to me and to those around me. The next activity that we're going to look at is resurrection, and I'm going to expand on that a little bit. Going back to our Science of Mind textbook, on page 630 in the glossary, is this brief but yet profound definition of resurrection. Resurrection, rising from a belief in death, a restoring or a renewal. So we are rising from a false belief, and we are restoring and renewing our awareness that life is for us, that life is always working on our behalf. And here's an Easter story that, and I'm going to give credit now to Reverend Scott Aubrey from the Spiritual Passages. The Easter story is titled, Flooded by Water, Then by Angels. In the aftermath of Hurricane Helene in 2024, Sherry Housley, an artist from Burnsville, North Carolina, lost her home and spent 6 months living in a camper. Her despair turned into hope when Mountain Heritage High School students, in partnership with the local nonprofit Rebuilding Hullers, built a new tiny home. Sherry said, "I was flooded with water. Now I'm flooded with angels." And so if we look at this story through the spiritual lens, this is what we see. Sherry's journey from devastation to renewal echoes the heart of the Easter story. Just as Jesus' resurrection transformed despair into hope, Sherry's experience illustrates how love and community can bring together new life from ruins. The students' compassionate act embodies the spirit of service and resurrection, turning loss into a testament of collective grace. Easter itself is a profound message of resurrection, and it symbolizes renewal and the possibility of new beginnings. The resurrection story reminds us that even in the face of adversity, there is hope of transformation and growth, and encouraging us to embrace renewal in our lives. Just as the earth itself, which with each passing service, just as the earth renews itself with each passing season, we can experience personal resurrection and renewal by letting go of past burdens and embracing new possibilities. Last week in San Diego, I believe it was last Monday in San Diego, California, there was a 5.2 earthquake. And as the ground shook, the story emerged of a family of African elephants at the San Diego Zoo sprang into action to protect their young. I don't know if many of you may have seen this on the local news. I see some heads nodding. Yeah, I really liked this story. Research indicates that elephants can sense vibrations through their ears and through their feet. And their feet is a communication process also. And it's likely that this ability helped them react to the earthquake. And so the video of the enclosure at their park shows 5 African elephants out in the sun, having a nice, joyful morning experience. And then as the earthquake happened and the camera began to shake, what we saw captured on the video was the elephants going into action, and they formed an alert circle. And I want you to just kind of put a little bookmark on alert circle, because I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. And this alert circle what happens is that the adult elephants form a circle around the youngsters, the young calves, so that they are kept safe in the circle. And in this particular herd of elephants, there was one male. And so the male is standing on the outside of the circle, or at the edge of the circle, holding high watch, if you will, and sensing any danger. Is gone into, the whole tribe went into protective mode. And what the video showed was one of the young calves trying to get out of the circle. And one of the older calves, one of the females, is lightly tapping the little cub on the back and also on the face. And it's saying to the elephant, to the little baby elephant, that stay in the circle. This is where you will be safe. Stay in the circle. This is where you will be safe. When the earthquake ended, they remained in the circle until they were sure that all of the danger was past for the moment. About an hour later, there was an aftershock, and they immediately went back into protective mode, their ears spread and flapping, even while the earth was rocking. And so I want to come back to Alert Circle and talk about the spiritual application of this particular story. We, as a spiritual community, create an alert circle, and we co-create with Spirit that safe place, that bold place where we come together when someone in our group is hurting, when someone in our group is going through an experience of pain or sorrow, or whatever that experience is that has taken them off kilter, off center for a moment. And this is why we encourage everyone, when they're experiencing these life challenges or life opportunities, as we sometimes call them, to come and be a part of community rather than stay away. The tendency is to sometimes hang our head in shame. Oh, woe is me, I'm beating myself up because I missed the mark. Okay, we all missed the mark. This is what we have spiritual community for, is to come together, to allow the community to form and embrace us in this alert circle where we see who we are. We see who you are. We see the reflection of Spirit in you. And our only responsibility in that alert circle is to remind you, and at the same time remind each other, that we are the face of God, that we are here for each other. We come together to support, to honor, to protect, to serve, to do whatever is possible, whatever is within our means, and also that which is outside of our means, to identify resources that are available to help and support us in community. And so I just want to thank you for showing up as the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living. And I know there are times where we come together in community and we form these alert circles, these safe circles within our community as we support each other, as we journey through this experience called life. Now I want to talk a little bit about Earth Day. Earth Day is celebrated globally and reminds us of our responsibility to care for our planet. This day emphasizes the importance of sustainable practices and environmental stewardship. And of course, like most designated holidays or days of importance, we focus on that one day, or we may focus on a month for a particular group or a particular activity. Life goes on a day-to-day basis. And it's nice that we set aside the time to honor Earth Day, to acknowledge that as we nurture our inner soil for our personal growth, that we must also tend to the earth soil, ensuring that it will be fertile for future generations. And this is our responsibility. This is our responsibility to care for the future generations so that they can care for the future generations and they can care for the future generations. Our actions, such as reducing waste, conserving water, planting trees, all contribute to the health of our planet. Here at the center, we engage in recycling materials that can be repurposed and reused again rather than going into landfill. I appreciate you and acknowledge you for that support. We can do the same thing in our homes. We can do the same things in our neighborhood. We can be not there's a word I'm searching for. We can teach. It is not our responsibility to preach to our families or to our communities. We have the opportunity to show by example. We teach by example of wise practices to reduce waste, conserve water, what it is that we plant, the choices that we make. And so as we honor Earth Day, as we honor ourselves, as we honor the entire planet, let us commit to sustainable practices, forming an active circle that reflects our dedication to the well-being of our planet, recognizing that our actions today shape the world that we experience tomorrow. And so as I wrap this up, let us be inspired by habit stacking, resurrection, and Earth Day. These themes together create a lasting fulfillment where every step today contributes to a healing, flourishing, abundant future. And so I invite us now to say together our affirmation, and we will say this 2 times, and we will have the words on the screen. Together, I cultivate holistic growth, welcoming interconnected solutions that nourish my well-being. I cultivate holistic growth, welcoming interconnected solutions that nourish my well-being. And so I invite us now to just join together in prayer and bring to mind the connections of stacking our habits in the Resurrection and Earth Day, recognizing that while all of these are sustainable, they are not quick fixes. And so as I say this prayer in first person, I invite you to recognize and connect and know that I'm speaking for each and every one of us. And what I know to be true is that there is only life, this life force that I call God, that is known by many other names and honored by many different traditions. This life force is resurrected in each one of us today, right here and right now. And I know this to be the truth because God is absolutely all that there is. And absolutely no one is exempt or outside of the grace and the love of God. And so as I align myself and unite myself with this highest idea of the allness of spirit, I know that the all-prevailing presence is what is operating in my life and in the life of everyone and every sentient being, as well as everything that represents the entire planet or the entire world as we know it from a finite level. I know that it is being held in the infinite activity and idea of this mind of God. And so I speak my word this morning, acknowledging the resurrection of the new life of the springtime, of the sunshine, of the beautiful weather that is occurring right where I am. And knowing that where each one is, they're in their right and perfect place in the mind and the idea of God. Acknowledging that love and only love prevails. And so as we move through these cycles of life, recognizing that each one builds on the other, and that those building blocks remind us that we're all interconnected with one another. And so from this point of interconnection, we experience and we express love. We honor, we respect, we acknowledge the life that is present in each one that we encounter, each one that we connect with. Someone has said that a smile begets a smile. And I begun to notice this more and more in my daily walk. As I walk, knowing that I walk in the love of God and I have the smile on my face, I notice how frequently it is returned, either with another smile or an acknowledgement or some form of recognition that we are as individuals passing one another, traveling through this area of life, traveling through this arena of life, and yet we're on this journey together. And so while on this journey, I bless places where people are gathering in the name and nature of wholeness, in the name and nature of love, in the name and nature of compassion, in the name and nature of humility, knowing that this is what our calling is. I speak my word of blessing for those who are experiencing transitions in their lives. Knowing that the journey of the physical expression may have come to a completion. However, the soul and the living memory of the loved one, of the friend, of the colleague lives on. And each time there is a recollection of a smile, a word, a gesture, or however that individual showed up in our lives. They live on in our memory. And so I'm grateful for the memories that I hold of loved ones that have moved on into another plane of expression, and yet their essence continues to live on in my memory. And so with a grateful heart, I release this word, I release this prayer, I release this treatment into that law, which always says yes, recognizing that there's only one thing happening, and the yes is complete unto itself. And if any of what I have said resonates with you in any way, let us affirm it together by saying, and so it is, and so it is. Thank you, thank you. And now it is time for us to participate in our community activity of sharing our abundance. We have an affirmation of abundance that I invite us to say together, and the words are on our screen. I recognize the presence of God within as a source of my abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the flow of uninterrupted abundance. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness. And so as our greeter passes the offering basket here in the center, I invite those of you who are viewing to donate. We appreciate the way that you do continue to support the center, and you may mail in your donations to our physical location, 400 West Franklin Street, Monterey, California, 93940. You may also text to give, and that number is 831-246-9694. And you may also donate online through our website, montereycsl.org, and click on the donate button. And while you're there on the website, if you're not receiving the newsletter, click on the button to subscribe to the newsletter. And after you have filled out that information, if you scroll down just a little bit further, you will find previous editions of our newsletter so that you can read that and be informed of what is happening here at our center and how we are showing up in the world. Let's see. We invite our Facebook and YouTube families to join us on next Sunday as we will do part 4 of our April series. And our topic is embracing the power of regenerativity. And we'll explore how to cultivate continuous growth and renewal in our lives. So we say, God bless you. Happy Easter. We love you. And please like and share so that the world gets this message that we are one with Spirit. Thank you.